At least I'm going to try and go on here. Oh, God. Excuse me, everybody. Good, eh? Yeah. Hell of a way to start a show. I've had a sore throat all day and I've been coughing nonstop, so I didn't get the mute button in time. Anyway, welcome to the Tuesday night Murtathon. Now, basically, the reason I'm coming in here tonight is to discuss the fact that nobody over on BitChute and Telegram that is part of Timmy's Cult seemed to want justice for Chris Hallett. Now, what gives me the reason for that? Well, it's this. Timmy or his ghostwriter have been writing article after article after article saying that Nellie Blanchard is innocent. Now, that in itself is not a problem. I mean, if they want to believe that Neely's innocent, they're on the surface, there's no problem with it. She's innocent until proven guilty, even if she has indicated that she did shoot Chris Hallett. What is the problem here is what they are doing to steer guilt away from Neely Blanchard. And what they're doing is they are steering it towards us, me, just about everybody in this chat room and everywhere else. With, I might add, absolutely no evidence. You know, they spin this crazy theory about that I went up to Wisconsin into a house I've never been in, managed to find one of Field McConnell's guns, somehow get it through Homeland Security on a flight back to Orlando through multiple airports, and then a couple months later go up to Ocala, Florida, and kill Chris Hallett and somehow give the gun to Neely Blanchard. That's quite a theory. Stupid, but it's a theory. And, you know, but this is what they do. They're bending over backwards to come up with why Neely Blanchard did not murder Chris Hallett. But they're doing it in a way that they're not coming up with any logical explanation as to why she did. They come up instead with these outlandish and weird conspiracy theories that make absolutely no sense. And they make themselves look foolish in the process. Now, on top of that, we have this oddball that kind of shows up every now and then, goes by Evil Destroyer. Sorry, guys. So he raises the question, why don't I wear my FBI clothes to the trial? How come you're so scared to wear them outside in public? And I told this nitwit that I would answer him, and I'm doing so on this show, and I'm going to link it to his comment once I go off the air. But Evil Destroyer, the answer is this. The trial of Neely Blanchard for the murder of Chris Hallett is not a joke. It's a very, very serious thing that's going to happen. A man is dead. The son of a 93-year-old woman is dead. The father to a son is dead. Grandfather is dead. So on and so forth. There's a lot of people that are missing Chris Hallett right now because somebody shot him. And instead of allowing the family to have closure and hopefully get the guilty party sentenced and put in prison, these people are going around and making a big fat joke out of this, as well as making a whole lot of money, which is basically the reason for all this. They don't give a damn about Chris Hallett. They just want the money they can generate because of all these cell towers. Or, excuse me, they're basically making money off of this murder case. Now, they're saying that the recordings are spliced, that they're frauds, they're this, they're that. They tried to do it with the body cams, and that blew up in their face, and it blew up so bad that they took the video down. And so that's what's going on here. And, they're just, what do we got here? I'm just reading over on Telegram. There's things popping up. Well, they're making a joke out of the case again, comparing me to Whitey Bulger. That's proof positive they don't care about Chris Hallett. They just use him as a joke in order to raise money. Now, fortunately, the jurors in the trial that's going to start in June are going to have more common sense than these people, and they are going to weigh the law, the evidence. They're not going to be swayed by conspiracy theories, even though that's apparently what Tim Holmseth and company are trying to do. They are trying to poison the jury, and it's not going to work because, number one, the judge gives specific instructions. The judge says, do not listen to outside commentaries. Forget everything that you've heard outside of this court. You are to adjudicate a verdict based on the law that is given to you in this courtroom, and that is all you're to be considering. And, so all this posturing that these people are doing is doing no good except for the actual purpose of making money. That's the only reason they're doing this, is because they've got to put money in somebody's hands. Maybe some of it will get into Timmy's, but the bulk of it is going to go into others' hands. There seems to be a pattern for this sort of thing. And someday, maybe Timmy will understand it. Who knows? I just don't think that Timmy understands that he's not getting very much of that money. They've probably given him all kinds of excuses. These people are very controlling. They're very good at what they do. And they've got Timmy wrapped around their little finger. Oh, dang it, wrong county. I hit the wrong button here. I gotta get back to the right court. So yeah, this has been done before. He's done it with several people because and he's still doing it with the Delphi, Indiana case. He's using two dead teenagers to his advantage. He's exploiting these dead teenagers, doing the same thing to their family that he's doing to Chris Hallett's family. And they don't care. They don't care about um, Chris Hallett. They don't care about uh, the teenagers. All they care about is this game they're playing. And there's not much you can do about it, but just recognize what they're doing. But on June 26, 2023, jury selection begins in the trial of Neely Blanchard. And so they've got all this time to make all this money off of this case. And they're going to keep doing it day in and day out. And the money's just going to roll in. And now they're going after the gays again. Sad. But it's too bad, really. Now, one thing I did want to discuss, this was delayed from before. Let me bring this up. Now, the state had filed a motion to strike the defense of insanity in the Blanchard case. Essentially, the state had said that they waited too long and that they shouldn't have the ability to cover or to use the insanity defense. Now, this does one of two things. This has the defense admitting to the fact that Neely Blanchard killed Chris Hallett. It's a admission. But the they are not accepting that. They're saying that there is no admission and so forth. But anyway, comes now the defendant in response to the state's motion to just strike defendant's notice to rely on insanity as a defense and would show onto this courses the basic basis for same to wit. And they get into defining what insanity is. It is a true affirmative defense. Since insanity offenses are focused on the state of mind of a defendant at the time of the criminal offense charge, it differs from incompetency, which focuses on the state of mind of a defendant at material steps of prosecution on that defense. And they go on to um, explain what is going on here. And they do acknowledge that a notice of defense must be given and so forth. And yes, there is a procedure in raising insanity, and that is designated by giving notice by the defense. Now, I'm reading through this. And they're stating to some extent that um, there is no time limit on the um, notice of the insanity plea. That um, the prosecution is wrong, and rather than reading through all this, now it comes down to here: the state of Florida now wishes to place a burden upon defense counsel to make an a priori determination that the defendant, in fact, met the psychological and legal definition of insanity. Although undersigned counsel had a good faith belief predicated on the information that was provided through the limited process of discovery at that time, that the defendant clearly may had been suffering a mental infirmity at the time of the incident. Counsel is not a mental health expert and had no specific supporting documentation to clearly establish the thought process of what was in the defendant's mind at the time of the incident was defense conjecture. Now, they went on to add that by subsequently completing the discovery and the retaining of the services of a trained mental health professional in October 28, 2021 was more than reasonable. That once the mental health expert provided the report in question, confirming the concerns of the defendant's counsel, it was in fact filed with the state attorney and the appropriate notice given to rely on the defense supported therein. And they also point out that the state does not have a mental expert on retainer ready to go for consulting purposes throughout the discovery process. It is the defendant who stands trial, not the state. The boisterous allegation of prejudice is without substance and at best can be answered by reference to Act 3, Scene 2 of Hamlet. Okay. The defendant's request for the court to accept her notice of intent to rely on insanity as a defense, which is well supported by the notice itself, readily places all matters before the court and allows for a more expeditious resolution and commencement by the state in its rebuttal activities. And so that's what the defense says. Now, I'm doing this a little backwards, but let's go down to um, the motion to strike by the prosecution. as soon as this thing decides to load. All right. And let me enlarge this. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Now, on the 21st of April, the state filed an intent to strike the defense. And it states that on December 14th, the above named defendant was charged by indictment with the murder in the first degree with a firearm. On December 16th, the Office of Public Defender filed a written plea of not guilty on the defendant's behalf. Thereafter, on January 14th, excuse me, sorry, I keep coughing. Defense counsel was all right, sorry about that. This is getting pretty bad. On April 17, 2023, the defendant filed her notice of intent to rely on insanity as a defense. Now, the criminal procedure clearly states the defendant shall give notice of intent to rely on the defense of insanity no later than 15 days after the arraignment or the filing of a written plea of not guilty when the defense of insanity is to be relied on at trial. Now, this may cause the ruling to be in the prosecution's favor. And this is going to create a bit of a problem for the defense, because if they are unable to use insanity as a defense, then they are going to have to come up with something else. And they're saying that the notice was not filed until 852 days after the filing of the written plea of not guilty. Some 837 days later than the rule demands and requires. Now, they are saying that the defense has missed their deadline by a substantial amount. Yeah, insanity is an extremely difficult thing to prove. It's almost the same as going on and winning the lottery. The chances are extremely slim that they're going to be able to do it. And now, unless the judge decides to be extremely lenient, they're not going to be able to use the defense. Now, this is something that came out. It is noteworthy that the defense counsel of record has been publicly stating that the defense was going to rely on insanity as early as April 2nd, 2021, where he was referenced in a Wall Street Journal article. Her lawyer, Jack Morrow, doesn't deny his client shot Mr. Hallett and says he intends to mount a temporary insanity in defense. His client said is a conspiratist who was trying to see her children and then became convinced that Mr. Hallett was part of a plot against her. This really cuts against the suggestion that the defense counsel could not have filed notice in good faith as he has apparently been planning to mount an insanity defense for his client for well over 2 years without filing any formal notice as the rule of law requires. Now let's go down and see the April 2nd, 2021 Wall Street article, How a Custody Fight plus QAnon Turned Deadly. And by the way, this article is in the Discovery, along with all things, a podcast. There's a lot of media that's going to be coming into the trial, apparently, or at least in the Discovery phase. So basically, the prosecution is saying you missed your opportunity. It took too damn long. And it is important to note the state has already listed Dr. Demery as a state expert witness in this case. And so, yeah, this is usually what happens before a trial is you get the parties to the trial. I'm going to see if I can bring this up. This was just filed here on the 27th, I believe, 21st. And that is that they are bringing in a podcast as evidence. And so that's one of the things that I'm going to be requesting of the state is the nature of this podcast. If I can't get a copy of it, at least to know where it is, and then I can get it offline. And let me see what the other discovery is. And this is the address of the state, of the attorney that the state is going to be using as their expert witness. And that is his podcast that they're going to be using. So I would be curious to know what podcast that he made that is going to be part of this case. And I'm going to attempt to get a copy of it. Now, you bring up an important point, Catherine. If the state rules against the defense, or the judge rather, rules against the defense when it comes to the use of temporary insanity, they are going to have to come up with a different strategy. And that strategy might be to plead down to a lesser charge, such as voluntary manslaughter, which is, it's severe, but it takes away the possibility of getting the death penalty. Because as of the last time I checked, which was a while back, the state was planning on asking for the death penalty. Okay, Tennessee, they are using the podcast of this Jason Demery, Demeri, or Y. He is an expert on insanity pleas, apparently. And so they will be using his podcast in the trial. And so it would, you know, it's going to be easier for me to get the exact podcast from the state rather than searching through his podcasts. Um, to see exactly what he said in a particular podcast that would be pertinent to this case. But the state filed that discovery for it, and so that's what we're going to be waiting on. Good evening, Richard. Welcome to the show. But one thing I don't know if any of you have heard about this yet or not. But let me go up to. Oh, you got to be kidding. But this video is over on the High Command's BitChute account, and they haven't removed it. Now, I thought that was kind of interesting that it hasn't been removed. They may not be able to remove it, but nonetheless, it's over there. And what I'm going to do is the music is been muted, I hope. But this is a gem. And let me do this. No. Trying to enlarge this. Oh, that's pretty good. And hopefully the sound is off on this. I have to turn the sound off because this is copyrighted. But this is still on Timmy's BitChute account. Now, I have been told that one of the administrators of the BitChute account turned against Timmy and put this up. Now, I can't confirm that, but it might explain why it hasn't been taken down, because this is not looking good for Timmy. And it's not looking good for Jesse either. But, this gives you a good idea. Now, the thing of it is, if that account was hacked, then why haven't they taken it down? Because you would think that somebody else would be able to go in there and take it down. And they haven't done it, which leads us to the possibility that well, now they're saying that 2/3 of vegetarian samples contained human DNA. Well, I guess now that's something they can. That's not exactly true, Too Sweet, because I don't know if I still got this in here, but the owners of the board have the ability to control their content. Now, if you remember, there was a big brouhaha back a while back about the timestamps on, and this should be it here. They made a video about the sheriff's body cam being 5.5 hours off. Now, there was a big back and forth about the UTC uh, standard being used. Somebody posted this, and then they posted this. And right after this was posted, what did they do? They took down the video. If you know, I don't know if it's still there, but over on IBT and Telegram, they had a link to this video. And it was this. If you look at this, up at the very top was a link to that very video. But if you were to go on to BitChute or onto Telegram and click on the link, you would get a 404 error, which means that the video was removed by the owner. And so it is logical to assume if they were able to remove this video from BitChute, then they should be able to remove that video. And if you went over to BitChute, this is what you would see, that the video is gone. So this means that one of the administrators of that account took the thing down. So the fact that this other video is still up means that someone internally chose to leave that up. And it's doing a lot of damage. In the comment sections, people are going crazy over that video. There's a lot of negative commentary there about it. And so hard to say what's going to happen. I have a feeling that, they're screwed now because that's been up there for a couple days now. And nobody seems to be able to take it down. And they have turned to going after David Strait. And I saw something interesting. There was actually something, oh, what the hell? Timmy over on his, he's, this is the kind of nonsense he puts up. But now we're getting into these crazy conspiracy theories again. Boy, he just kept rolling this up there. August 17th, 2022. So he's, putting the same garbage up several times. But, they're going back to repeating old stuff. And so, you know, this is nothing current. This is last year. And he's still putting this crap up there. And it's mentally off into the outer limits. So I guess you got to be careful when you eat your hot dogs now. But, that's where we're at today, folks. And now, one thing I'm going to do is I wrap this up, as I was only planning on being on an hour. I will be checking into this case where the state of Florida accidentally sent me the wrong video. The guy is going to be going to court Thursday or Friday, or no, for the pretrial conference. Thursday or Friday. Now I'm trying to see if that is still up here. And probably not. Okay, here we go. Now, what we're looking at here is that the pretrial conference is the 4th, which I believe is 3, 4. Yeah, it's Thursday at 8:30. So I might go up to Lake County and sit in on this to see where we're going to be at on the pretrial conference. And then on the 15th, which is a week from Thursday, they are going to have the trial. And this is, as you can see, it's for the purpose of sentencing this guy for the one. Yeah, this is the Johnson guy. And this is the information that they did not check on over on Telegram when they criticized me for saying that the guy was guilty when he had been found not guilty of 3 of the 4 charges. Now, if he had been not guilty on all charges, this case would have been closed. But what you find, if you look real close at their copy of the docket, was that the case was still open. And that means that there was unfinished business of some kind with the case. And it turns out that's this case is unresolved. They're going for a plea deal, and we're going to find out what the charges are. Well, Toot, thanks for coming in. The thing about Home Cess videos over on the High Command and elsewhere, if people look at these things with an open mind, you see how crazy this guy is. Now, this is a guy who claims that the Vice President of the United States, Mike Pence, tried to have him assassinated. He's come out to say he's the most important person on the internet right now. He's supposed to have all this confidential, secret, damaging information on just about everybody, and yet you don't see any of it. And they'll come out and say, well, the stuff was destroyed, that Chris Hallett was filing it, and you turn around and all the stuff has been filed with state courts all over the country. He's filed in Tennessee, he's filed in Ohio, he's filed everywhere. And he's posted the stuff online. So, it's just that if you take a step back and just look at the stuff, you realize it's just all crap. And more people are beginning to find out. I get messages every once in a while from somebody that says, well, I no longer believe in Tim. I've seen this, that, and the other thing. And they go away. And, a lot of times what you have to do with Homeseth is you just have to walk away and not say anything. Because if you announce you're going away, he comes after you and comes after you hard. Good evening, John. Welcome. Came in for about the last 10 minutes or so of my broadcast because that's all I ask people to do. I mean, I don't expect people to believe everything I say, but, do your homework. Go to the court sites, check out what the courts have to say, check multiple avenues of reference, not just one, so you can figure out what is the best source of information to go by. Oh, that's okay, John. That's why the show gets recorded. You can always go back. But, yeah, this is what the big secret case is that Holmes says is supposed to be this filing that they're trying to silence. It's a child support dispute. He tried to have a lawyer arrested over this child support dispute. It's, that's all it is. It's no Defense Department thing or big exposure of government corruption and child trafficking or anything like that. It's a simple fighting of child support. And this is coming into discovery. It'll be in there. And then Timmy's going to have a hard time fighting it because it's going to be out for everybody to see. It's going to come up in the trial. And this is what they're going to use to show that Neely Blanchard was tricked by Chris Hallett and that he got angry enough to shoot him. Well, thanks for that. But see, this is what I'm talking about when you say evidence. That came from the state. It's going to be coming into the trial. Now, they're over there on the other side saying I tampered with it. But that's the full tape from beginning to end. And, it's just like we are the 13th juror. It's, the regular jury is going to hear this and they are going to decide. They are going to use posts from this blog. They are going to use the evidence that comes into court. The prosecution's going to present their evidence. The defense is going to produce theirs. And then the jury will decide how it turns out. No, I did mute one time because I had to cough, but I turned it back on. I'm trying to keep from coughing in everybody's ear while I'm on tonight. I've got just a really bad sore throat tonight. I think I've got a little bug that's going around and I got stuffy nose and all that. I have allergies to oak pollen, which is really bad. Oh, I didn't know she had one. To be honest, I thought there was an empty cavity up there, or maybe a place to store whiskey or something. Uh, 10 minutes to go. Well, they're going to their standard conspiracy theories now. Might as well, because they're losing on the Neely Blanchard's case as well as Delphi murder case. And I'm going to check just out of curiosity. Now, Richard Allen did get moved, or is going to be moved. Um, and let's see, this is latest is 2 weeks ago that he can be moved. So he more than likely has been moved by now. Um, so I don't know if you have it, but the TF Avatar comes from a book, Doomsday Eve. I've heard of the book. I don't have it. Um, so, what is the TF Avatar? I seem to have missed that. Um, no, they've been noticeably absent. They have, they're over talking about hot dogs and hospitals tonight. So, yeah, it's relatively peaceful this time around. I imagine there'll be a video coming out. I don't know. Um, it's hard to say with this bunch, but um, I'm going to put the link over there in Mister um, Evil Destroyer's thing so he can see the answer. Uh, okay. Hate that. There's a button down at the. Well, he's had a falling out with the Straits, and he's actually looking forward to seeing Bonnie get hit with additional time. They've been attacking David Strait and Bonnie Strait now for quite a while because he isn't getting the attention that he wanted. She is still in jail. They are going to have her trial on the 5th of May, which is the day after this other guy's pretrial hearing. So it's going to be a busy week. And so I would gather that somebody down there in Texas is going to be monitoring that to see what happens with her. But unless there is a miracle somewhere, um, she's going down for the count. Um, well, that's not surprising. And the only thing that's going to happen is the sheriff's just going to have deputies there to make sure that nothing gets out of hand. I would think that people would not be stupid to be going with firearms to that hearing. And this is uh, what Randy does. She likes to stir up trouble. It's been rumored that Randy was responsible for Bonnie getting arrested in the first place. That she had called the sheriff or the state police and told them that they were going to be leaving, and she was there. So this is, they're going to keep this stuff up, and they're going to piss off the wrong person. It's these people are either extremely brave or extremely stupid to be getting involved in this way. But and all he has to do is check with the sheriff and find out if these people have been calling in, and it's going to be up to him what he's going to do about it. But they keep biting into this stuff, and it's not a smart thing to do. But well, how much money is she supposed to make? They're already making a small fortune off these gullible people over on Big Shoot. Why would she be worried about how much the David Strait makes? Now, I think that part of the problem is that David Strait shut Timmy out. And Timmy doesn't like to be shut out of things. I mean, this is what the whole situation with Kim Picasso was. Timmy got shut out of her organization when they were up in Putnam County, and all these lies he's been telling about Kim is payback for it. And so now they're trying to do their best to cause David Strait and Bonnie trouble. And the problem with that is that David Strait has a hell of a lot more supporters than Tim Holmseth ever thought of having. Now, I'm not on the side of David Strait. I don't care much for his actions either, but I think it's hypocritical that Tim Holmseth is going after David Strait for doing the exact same thing he's doing. And there's a time if you get into a situation that's above your head, it's not going to bode well for you. And so, by doing this, Timmy might be getting himself into a situation that he's not going to be too happy with. I can't speak for anybody in that group, but you never know. Because there's a shitload of money involved here with David Strait. And money can lead to a lot of problems. And, if I were Tim Holmseth and his group, I would be very, very careful about your actions. You should just be content to mind your own business and do your own thing. But, they're too stupid to do that. So we'll see how this turns out. So, anyway, I'm going to call it a night. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and share. And I'm going to be keeping an eye on the situation with David Strait and with Mr. Johnson and with Neely Blanchard. I should be getting a great deal more discovery here in the coming weeks. I'm going to stretch it out a little bit because of the delay in the trial. I'm not as rushed as I was, but I do have to wait for the other information to come in. But when it comes in, I'll start up again. I'm still doing research on Neely Blanchard to finish the Prelude to Murder series, so I'll be doing periodic videos to do that. Well, if that's the case, then Timmy is messing with the wrong people. Because if that's what's going on here, then I would be watching my back if I were the two of them. So we'll see what happens. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Until the next time, have a good one. Bye bye.